A forgotten Mustang stumbles into a village, starving and broken, but its presence begins to ignite something deep within the hearts of the villagers. In a world where fear often divides, can an animal teach them the true meaning of compassion and unity? The Mustang stumbled into the village just as dusk fell, its ribs visible beneath matted fur. Its hollow eyes scanned the cobblestone streets, searching for help but finding only stares. Villagers paused mid-step, unsure what to do. Some whispered nervously. Others turned away, afraid. The horse's legs trembled under its weight, and it collapsed near the well, too weak to move further. A child broke free from her mother's grip, running toward the animal despite warnings. "It's hurt," she cried, tears streaming down her face. Her small hands reached out cautiously, offering a piece of bread. The Mustang flinched but didn't pull away. For a moment, time froze, the villagers watching silently as fear gave way to curiosity. Could this frail creature bring them together? The child stayed by the Mustang's side, stroking its rough coat gently. "Don't be scared," she whispered, though her voice shook. Behind her, the villagers murmured uneasily. "Where did it come from?" one asked, while another muttered about diseases or danger. An old man leaned on his cane, studying the scene thoughtfully. He had seen horses like this before, wild ones driven to desperation by hunters or harsh winters. But something about this Mustang felt different. Its eyes held not just hunger but sorrow, as if carrying burdens beyond understanding. The child placed more bread beside it, coaxing it to eat. Slowly, the Mustang nibbled, its movements hesitant yet trusting. The crowd grew quieter, their fear giving way to pity. Was there hope for this broken soul? As the Mustang ate, a baker emerged from his shop, holding a bucket of water. "Here," he said gruffly, setting it down near the horse. His gesture surprised even himself. He wasn't known for generosity. Others watched, unsure whether to follow suit. Then, a farmer stepped forward, draping his coat over the Mustang's shivering body. "It's freezing out here," he muttered, avoiding eye contact. One by one, villagers began pitching in. Someone brought hay. Another offered blankets. Even the blacksmith, usually grumpy, fetched tools to mend the horse's cracked hooves. The child smiled through tears, patting the Mustang's neck. "See? They care," she said softly. Though still frail, the Mustang seemed to relax slightly, sensing safety. This small act of kindness sparked something bigger, a chain reaction of compassion that would change everyone forever. The Mustang remained wary, flinching at sudden movements despite the villagers' efforts. It was clear trust wouldn't come easily after so much suffering. The child spent hours sitting quietly beside it, humming lullabies until its breathing steadied. Meanwhile, the villagers debated what to do next. "We can't keep it here," argued a merchant, glancing nervously at his wares. "What if it gets sick?" But the old man silenced him with a sharp look. "If we turn it away now, we're no better than those who left it starving," he said firmly. Slowly, plans formed. They'd share food, shelter it temporarily, and nurse it back to health. By nightfall, the Mustang rested in a makeshift stable, surrounded by lanterns casting warm light. Hope flickered faintly, but uncertainty lingered. Could they truly save it? Under the cover of darkness, doubts crept in. Some villagers questioned their decision, whispering anxiously behind closed doors. "What if it brings bad luck?" one woman fretted, clutching her shawl tightly. Yet others couldn't ignore the image of the child comforting the Mustang earlier that day. Outside, the wind howled eerily, shaking shutters and scattering leaves across the square. The Mustang stirred restlessly in its stable, ears twitching at every sound. Nearby, the old man kept watch, ensuring no harm came to the fragile animal. He remembered stories of wild horses bringing omens, both good and bad. As dawn approached, the storm subsided, leaving behind an eerie calm. The Mustang stood shakily, testing its strength. Perhaps tomorrow would bring clarity or chaos. By morning, the Mustang seemed stronger, though still fragile. The child was the first to arrive at the stable, carrying fresh water and apples she'd begged from her mother. "You'll get better," she promised, stroking its neck gently. The villagers gathered slowly, curious about the horse's progress. To their surprise, It didn't shy away when offered food this time. Instead, it ate hungrily, its movements less hesitant. The baker smiled faintly, watching as his bread disappeared in moments. Maybe we're doing something right, he admitted, scratching his head. But not everyone shared his optimism. One man grumbled about wasted resources, while another muttered about superstitions. Despite these doubts, the majority felt a growing sense of purpose. This wasn't just about saving an animal. It was about proving they could come together for something bigger than themselves. As days passed, tension simmered beneath the surface. Some villagers whispered about old legends, how wild horses were omens of misfortune or harbingers of change. Others worried about practical matters. Who would feed the Mustang long term? What if it never regained full strength? These fears bubbled over during a heated argument in the square. "We can't afford to keep it," shouted a merchant, slamming his fist on a table. The child ran to stable, tears streaming down her face. The Mustang nuzzled her softly, as if comforting her. Meanwhile, the old man intervened, silencing the crowd with stern voice. "This horse has brought us closer than we've been in years," he said firmly. "If you turn away now, you'll regret it." His words struck a chord, quieting even the loudest critics for now. The Mustang's presence began to weave subtle connections among the villagers. The blacksmith, usually solitary, found himself chatting with the farmer while repairing the horse's hooves. "Never thought I'd care so much about an animal," he admitted gruffly, though his tone softened as he worked. The child visited daily, bringing scraps of food and singing softly. Slowly, the Mustang responded, nudging her hand gently in gratitude. Even skeptics couldn't deny the bond forming between human and animal. One evening, lanterns lit up the stable as villagers gathered to check on the horse. For the first time in years, laughter filled the air, not forced or awkward, but genuine. Though challenges remained, there was no denying the Mustang had sparked something magical. Weeks passed, and the Mustang grew visibly stronger. Its coat regained a glossy sheen, and its once hollow eyes now gleamed with life. Villagers marveled at its transformation, taking turns caring for it like proud parents. The child taught it simple commands, giggling as it followed her around the square. "She's taming it," someone joked, earning nods of approval. Yet, not everything was perfect. Old wounds lingered, not just on a Mustang, but within the village itself. Arguments flared occasionally, reminders of unresolved tensions. Still, progress outweighed setbacks. On sunny mornings, the Mustang trotted through fields under watchful eyes, testing its newfound freedom. Each step symbolized resilience, inspiring those who watched. Healing was possible for both horse and humans. One rainy afternoon, the old man shared stories of hardship that mirrored the Mustang's plight. "Years ago, our village faced famine," he began, his voice steady yet tinged with sadness. "We survived because we helped each other." His words resonated deeply. Many realized the horse's journey reflected their own struggles: loneliness, fear, survival against odds. As rain pattered against rooftops, villagers sat quietly, reflecting on their lives. The Mustang stood nearby, listening intently, as if understanding every word. When the storm subsided, a young woman approached it cautiously, offering a handful of oats. "Thank you," she whispered, surprising herself. The moment felt profound, a reminder that kindness healed wounds, whether visible or hidden. The Mustang's recovery inspired unexpected acts of bravery. A shy tailor stepped forward, sewing blankets to protect it from cold nights. A reclusive herbalist brewed remedies for lingering injuries. Even children joined in, collecting flowers to brighten the stable. Their efforts weren't just for the horse. They were for each other. Friendships formed where none existed before. One day, a group of villagers rebuilt part of the stable, working side by side despite past disagreements. Sweat mingled with laughter as hammers rang out rhythmically. By sunset, the structure stood sturdy, a testament to unity. The Mustang watched silently, its steady gaze seeming to say, "Thank you." Together, they proved anything was possible. Despite progress, doubts lingered. Rumors spread about hunters tracking stray horses, sparking fear among villagers. "What if they find it?" whispered a nervous woman, clutching her shawl tightly. Others argued about releasing the Mustang back into the wild, fearing it wouldn't survive alone. Tensions boiled over during another heated debate. "We've done enough," snapped a frustrated merchant. The child sobbed openly, clinging to the Mustang as if shielding it from harm. Her cries silenced the room. Slowly, heads bowed in shame. They knew turning away now would undo everything they'd built. That night, lanterns flickered softly as villagers vowed to protect the horse, no matter what came next. Just as hope solidified, nature tested their resolve. A fierce storm swept through the village, toppling trees and flooding streets. The stable groaned under wind and rain, threatening collapse. Villagers rushed to reinforce it, braving icy winds to save the Mustang. "Hold on," shouted the blacksmith, hammering nails into place. Inside, the horse trembled but stayed calm, trusting those who cared for it. Lightning illuminated jagged cliffs beyond the village, reminding them how close danger always loomed. When dawn broke, exhaustion weighed heavily on everyone, but relief washed over them too. Against all odds, the stable stood firm. The Mustang emerged unharmed, its presence a beacon of resilience amid chaos. After the storm, the Mustang surprised everyone. It walked slowly toward the child, bowing its head slightly, a gesture of gratitude. Tears streamed down her face as she hugged its neck tightly. Nearby, villagers exchanged glances, moved by the moment. "It knows," murmured the baker, his voice thick with emotion. Indeed, the horse seemed aware of their sacrifices, responding with quiet trust. Later, the old man spoke again, urging them to reflect on lessons learned. "This horse reminded us who we are," he said softly. "People who care, who fight for what's right." Nods rippled through the crowd. Whatever happened next, they knew one truth. Kindness mattered more than fear. As spring arrived, talk turned to the Mustang's future. Could it return to the wild, or should it stay in the village? Opinions clashed, reigniting old debates. "It belongs free," argued the farmer, recalling tales of untamed herds roaming distant plains. Others feared predators or harsh winters. Amid uncertainty, the child spent hours training the horse, teaching it skills needed for survival. She hid her sadness behind smiles, knowing goodbye might come soon. One evening, the Mustang galloped freely across fields, testing its strength. Watching from afar, villagers felt pride and sorrow. No decision had been made yet, but time was running out. Would letting go be the hardest act of love? While exploring nearby woods, the old man stumbled upon something unexpected, a hidden grove filled with wildflowers and fresh water. It was perfect grazing land for the Mustang. Excitedly, he shared his find with the villagers. This could be its new home, he suggested, pointing out how safe and secluded it was. The idea sparked hope, but also unease. Some worried releasing the horse meant losing the bond they'd built. Others argued it deserved freedom after so much suffering. The child listened silently, clutching her hands tightly. That night, she visited the Mustang alone, whispering promises of love even if they parted ways. The horse nuzzled her gently, as if understanding. Decisions loomed, but one thing was clear. Their choices would shape both its future and theirs. The day finally came. Villagers gathered near the grove, their hearts heavy yet hopeful. The child led the Mustang forward, tears streaming down her face. "You'll be okay," she whispered, hugging its neck one last time. Slowly, the horse stepped into the clearing, pausing to glance back at its human family. For a moment, time froze, their connection unspoken yet undeniable. Then, with a flick of its tail, it trotted toward freedom. Cheers erupted softly, though many wiped away tears. The baker placed a hand on the child's shoulder, offering comfort. "It'll remember us," he said firmly. As sunlight filtered through trees, casting golden light over the scene, everyone felt a mix of sadness and joy. Letting go wasn't easy, but sometimes love meant giving freedom. Days turned into weeks without the Mustang. The village seemed quieter, emptier somehow. The child visited the grove often, leaving apples and singing songs in case the horse returned. Though it never appeared, footprints hinted at its presence nearby. Meanwhile, life went on. The blacksmith repaired tools with renewed purpose, inspired by teamwork during the storm. Farmers shared crops generously, remembering lessons learned. Even skeptics softened, acknowledging how the horse had changed them. One evening, lanterns lit up the square as villagers celebrated unity, not just for survival, but for compassion. Though the Mustang was gone, its legacy remained. Hope lingered in every corner, reminding them kindness always left ripples. Months passed, and the village thrived in ways no one expected. Inspired by the Mustang's resilience, people worked harder, helping neighbors without hesitation. Fields yielded bountiful harvests, and laughter echoed through streets once silent. The child grew older, her bond with the horse shaping her into a kind-hearted leader among peers. One crisp autumn morning, villagers spotted hoofprints leading toward the grove again. Hearts raced as they followed the trail, wondering if their beloved friend had returned. Instead, they found a herd of wild horses drinking from the stream. Among them stood the Mustang, sleek and strong, watching curiously. Tears welled in eyes as they realized it hadn't forgotten them either. Trust endured, bridging worlds apart. The Mustang's reappearance sparked reflection. Villagers sat together under starry skies, sharing stories of how the horse transformed their lives. "It taught us empathy," said the farmer, recalling arguments overcome. "And courage," added the tailor, thinking of storms faced together. Even skeptics admitted they'd grown closer because of it. The child smiled faintly, knowing her small act of kindness had ignited change. Nearby, the Mustang grazed peacefully, occasionally glancing at its human family. Its presence reminded them that healing took time and effort, but was always worth it. Together, they vowed to carry forward lessons learned: compassion, unity, resilience. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they'd face them as one. Winter arrived, blanketing the village in snow. Despite cold winds, warmth radiated within homes and hearts. The Mustang stayed close, visiting regularly despite belonging to the wild now. Children played near the grove, laughing as it galloped gracefully across fields. Elders marveled at how far they'd come since that fateful day it stumbled into their lives. Arguments faded. Friendships deepened. Even outsiders noticed the village's newfound spirit, drawn by tales of a starving horse turned symbol of hope. Lanterns glowed brightly during festivals, celebrating not just survival but thriving together. The Mustang watched silently, its steady gaze seeming to say, "Keep going." With each passing season, bonds strengthened. Proof miracles happen when hearts open wide. Years later, the child became a young woman, leading efforts to protect local wildlife. Her passion stemmed from memories of the Mustang, whose trust had ignited lifelong dedication. Villagers joined her cause, planting trees and building shelter for animals in need. The Mustang itself aged gracefully, often seen guiding younger horses to safety. Its role shifted from survivor-protector, but its connection to humans remained steadfast. On quiet evenings, villagers still gathered near the grove, sharing stories under starlit skies. Laughter mingled with nostalgia as they recalled moments of fear, hope, and triumph. Though words failed to capture their journey fully, action spoke louder. Love transcended boundaries, proving bonds weren't bound by time or species. One spring morning, an elder discovered carvings etched into rocks near the grove, ancient symbols depicting wild horses protecting villages long ago. Realization dawned. The Mustang's arrival hadn't been coincidence. Legend spoke of these creatures bringing omens of renewal, uniting fractured communities. Tears filled eyes as villagers pieced together clues. Their struggles mirrored past generations, resolved only through compassion. The Mustang stood nearby, watching knowingly, as a confirming truths buried deep within history. Hearts swelled with gratitude. This wasn't just about saving an animal. It was fulfilling destiny. Together, they vowed to honor legacies left behind, ensuring future generations cherish connections forged between humans, animals, and nature alike. Decades passed, and the village flourished beyond imagination. Stories of the Mustang were passed down, inspiring countless acts of kindness. Children dreamed of meeting the legendary horse. Those sightings grew rare. Yet its spirit lived on, in fields lush with greenery, in laughter echoing through streets, in unity binding hearts together. On special occasions, villagers visited the grove, leaving offerings of gratitude. Footprints lingered faintly, reminders of a bond unbroken by time. Elders recounted tales vividly, ensuring no detail faded. The Mustang's legacy endured, not just as memory, but as proof love healed wounds, bridged divides, and created miracles. Wherever it roamed now, it carried pieces of their souls forever intertwined. As twilight settled over the village, an elderly woman walked slowly toward the grove, leaning on a cane. She paused, gazing fondly at hoofprints marking soft earth. Memories flooded back. The Mustang's arrival, struggles faced, joy shared. Though frail, her heart brimmed with gratitude. Behind her, grandchildren laughed, chasing fireflies beneath starlit skies. They didn't know the full story yet, but someday they would. Turning away, she whispered softly, "Thank you." Far off, a lone figure emerged briefly from shadows, a sleek horse watching silently before disappearing into dusk. Love transcended lifetimes, proving some bonds were eternal. And so, the cycle continued, hope reborn, hearts united, forever grateful. As the Mustang gallops toward its newfound freedom, the village stands at crossroads, forever changed by the bond they forged with a creature in need. In the end, they learn that kindness, trust, and the courage to let go are what truly bind us together.